Welcome everyone to the show. I'm your host Don Vic. What's going on? What's going on? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Oh boy. So, guys, today we got a great guest coming on the show. Actor, producer, John Yost. He'll be on the show today. We'll be talking about his career in acting and producing. Also interesting guy. Um, he did a documentary about alien abduction, and we'll be talking about that as well. Can't wait to have him on and find out exactly what experiences have he had with with abductions, and what stories does he know about anyone being abducted by aliens. So I'm interested. I can't wait, and we're gonna find out what's going on. What's going on? So um, I want to thank all the viewers that tap in on the Don Big Show YouTube, um, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I want to thank all you guys for tapping in. Big shout out to the Parapost Network, P3 family, and everyone else around the world that tunes in on the show. So right now, I actually got John here on my panel, and we're going to bring him on, and we're going to talk to him and find out exactly what's going on in his life. All right, so please welcome John Yost to the show, everyone. John, how you doing, brother?
Don, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate you and your audience. Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate you for for coming on the show. I know you're a busy guy.
I try to be. I try to be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, you know, I watched you on a show, a previous show with my friend, my good brother Matt.
Yes.
And it was a very interesting story that you had, and I was just tuned in for a little while because I was kind of busy, but I tuned in and I heard some of the stuff that you was talking about.
Yes,
But
sir.
before we get into that, tell me about your acting career. How that all began for you? Why acting?
Sure. Sure. Well, it was kind of an accident. I went to school. Yeah, it was a total accident.
Accident.
I would like to tell you that I'm a smart guy and I know. No, I'm an idiot, and I just
Okay.
accidentally stepped into it. What happened was this: I was going to school for finance, and I ended up working with the U.S. Treasury and U.S. Customs, and I became a U.S. Customs broker. And I didn't work for the Treasury. I worked under the jurisprudence of the Treasury. They're the ones that hold all the licenses for U.S. Customs brokers. Now, what these guys do is what I did for 10 years was I moved people, material, intellectual properties worldwide. And then, of course, we dealt with all of the customs and taxes and the duties and the trade agreements between all these different countries. And we moved billions and billions of dollars and material. And part of that was investigative and, chasing bad guys, making sure people were obeying the law and this sort of thing. And what happened was I had discovered kind of a big deal, a big plot about people moving stuff into the States that they should not have been doing, and yeah, it got pretty ugly. And the U.S. attorneys were involved, the special agents, the whole bit. And I worked with those guys, and we finished that situation. But my life, I have to tell you, after that, I had such a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm,
I mean, it just lost when I was a kid, I was one of the youngest U.S. Customs brokers in the country.
mm.
Um, I had, it's a pretty tough test. It's like a bar exam, a lot, and it's given twice a year in April and October. And I was one of two people who passed it in the entire country. There were like 976 people who took it, and I passed it.
Mm.
And anyway, I was really jazzed. I mean, I was really excited about doing that in my life. And then man, the corruption, it really bothered me. It really affected me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I noticed I was kind of sensitive, and that bothered me too, you know. Anyway, so I left that, you know, and I said, you know, I got to do something with my life. I've
Right.
been doing that for 10 years. I'd lived in Germany. I, you know, went around, worked in New York, worked in DC, Cincinnati, around the country. And and I said, you know what? In high school and college, I love theater. I'm going to be an actor. Now, I got to tell you something, Don. At this time, I'm married and I have two small children. I got a mortgage and two cars.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So people thought I had three heads, right? And and I can still remember my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, calling me. I know this is probably a family show, so I won't tell you what she called me, but she. But let me just say, she could hit her K's really well. She could hit the K,
Okay.
and she called me names at a family Christmas party. That was pretty hard, but within 3 years, I had been I earned my place in Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, American Guild of Musical Artists, and also Actors Equity Association, which is Broadway. But I'm traveling all around the country, and I got little kids at the time. This is a long time ago.
Wow.
And, you know, I'm an Irish kid, and, you know, that Irish guilt just wears on you, you know, and you
Yeah.
think, I'm away from the family, I'm away from the kids. I can't do this. So I started to create my own company, my own little production company, you know, and it started off with just a couple guys, and then it grew huge, and then it went away. And then about, I want to say 14 years ago, I started working with a company called Rhino Pictures. And now, up until this point, okay, I want you to say, you can look at me like, you know, I'm not a star, obviously not. You know, I'm not either not good looking enough or not weird looking enough. You know what I mean? I
Yeah, yeah,
kind
I
of
get
I kind of stole Fred Flintstone's head and
it.
put Alec Baldwin's hair on it. You know what I mean? So
Right,
that's who
right.
I am, right? So I would play like the guy next door, the crazy cop, or whatever, you know. And but I had been in New York, I had been in L.A., I had a lot of national commercials. I did a lot of film work. People can look me up.
Yeah.
And but I didn't want to travel anymore. I wanted to be close to the family, and I didn't want to take my kids to New York or L.A. and try to raise them. Then, you know, they were already in their schools and that sort of thing. So I started a small production company. That was what led to this Rhino Pictures, and Rhino has been around for. And this is RYNO, by the way,
Right.
RYNO. They have been around for shoot 38 years. I mean, a real company. You know what I mean? It's not like two guys named Larry working out of the back of their van.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, and so I joined them, and I kept pressing them. I said, "Listen, you know, we really need to be working on content. We're, you know, producing content." And
Right.
so about, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, we started getting involved in, you know, productions. And this is stuff that you'd see on History Channel or Food Network or Esquire or Fox or NBC. You know, I mean, this sort of thing, and everything from silly little commercials to, you know, big television shows and this sort of thing. And and so that's my career in a, you know, in a thimble, you know.
Right. Right.
I don't know. Did I answer your question? I want to make sure I did.
Yeah, yeah. So you enjoy directing, acting?
Yeah, yeah. I, it was my business. You know what I mean? For me, like I said, think of me as like a blue collar guy. You know, everybody goes, "Oh, you know, TV or what." I mean, think about you. You know, you do this show, but you know how much damn work it is. It's not, you know, where's the groupies? Where are the limos? Where are the party? None of that crap exists really. Not
No,
for
right,
guys like you and me, right?
right.
So it was just me trying hard to do a business. I mean, I could have worked in a factory. So if you think of me like a manufacturer, I've manufactured video, I manufacture audio, that sort of thing. And so I enjoyed it. It was good, and you know, it helped me raise a family and put kids through school and stuff like that. So for me, it was just a job. I was never ever gonna be a star, and I was
Right.
okay with that. You know what I mean?
And it's funny you say that because I say the same thing. You
Mhm.
know, I'm also an actor.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks. And you're right. to me, I enjoy doing it, and
Yeah.
I love to do it. So maybe I can inspire my grandkids when, if I'm no longer here and they grow and they be like, well, who's my grandfather? At
Ah,
least I have a legacy or something that they
yes,
can
sir.
look at and maybe inspire them to become uh the new Al Pacino or
Yeah.
whatever,
And
so
where are you from? Where do you live?
I'm from Boston.
Boston. I
Yeah,
see, man. Beautiful up there, man.
yeah,
Nice, nice, nice.
yeah. It's
Now that
nice
you
and
can,
cold.
yeah. How's the construction? No more? Okay, everything's good.
I'm a construction worker. It's on and popping over here every
I
day.
understand, baby. I
You know,
understand.
creating a lot of building a lot of buildings out here, out in the city, in the
Yes, sir.
downtown area. It's unbelievable. It's like a building going up, skyscrapers going up left and
Yeah.
right. It's a lot of work out here.
Well, I'm glad you're working, brother. God bless you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. So, acting for me is fun. I love it. I love to um be someone that I'm not at times. When you get a
Mm,
character that's not you, have nothing to do with your lifestyle, or it's totally opposite of you.
mm,
So what I love is the challenge,
mm,
right? To become someone that I'm not, and to deeply get into that character
mm,
and be that character.
mm.
You know,
Yes, sir.
so that's what I love about it.
That's great.
Yeah. So how many how many movies have you done?
Oh, been in or produced or directed?
Produced, directed?
Yeah. Um, I, well, people go to rhinopictures.com. They'll see a bunch of different things, a bunch of big TV shows, bunch of films. Three films that and I got a couple in development too. And this is the thing, man. When we start getting into this, you're gonna find it's a like I said, a total accident that I'm where I am today, because I'm just a guy working it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like okay, in construction, it's like I'm a bricklayer who moved a brick and found like an alien ship underneath the brick, underneath the foundation. Like, how the hell did this happen?
Right,
I'm just minding my own business, not thinking about anything, and then boom, something happened, and it freaking changed my life, man. It changed my
right,
life. Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
tell us about the alien abduction.
yeah,
It's a documentary about that.
yeah, yeah. I made a film called Alien Abduction Answers.
Answers.
Okay.
Right.
Now, look, before anybody yells at me, oh, Mr. Answers, you got no, no, no. It's about me looking for the answers. Okay. So please don't yell at me. Trust me, I got a lot of people yell at me. Please don't yell at me. I'm just
Right,
looking
right.
for them.
I
I'm
get
looking. Yeah, I don't have them. I'm looking for them. Okay.
it.
Jeez, a whiz. Yeah. Well, I got two like big stories to tell you. Two big stories. How much time do we have? I don't want to be a jerk. I
Don't
want to
worry.
make sure we're
Don't worry
good.
about it. This
We're
is this
good.
this is your
Okay.
time.
Okay, my man. Well, it's your show, so I obey your rules, sir. I obey your rules. Yeah. See, I'm a nice guy. Nobody
You
knows
are a
it.
nice guy. You're
I'm a
actually
nice
very
guy.
nice. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. You're very
yeah.
nice compared to Matt.
Uh,
You're
I
very
have to
nice.
be. With a face like this, I gotta be very nice. It's like that one girl. They say, "Well, she has a great smile."
Right?
Yeah, she's a great smile.
She's a-
What a personality on that lady.
oh
Um,
boy.
yeah. So look, I'm just like a normal guy.
Right.
I grew up. I had family, raised kids. Moved on, went to school. I'm an American. I'm a
Right.
guy,
Right.
and so I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this backwards, okay? Because this is the way it really happened. So I'm on the job, right? And I'm shooting something, a show out in this place called Borrego Springs, California, right?
Okay.
And this place is very, very flat, like a desert, okay? And And we have a bunch of people. We have a bunch of people with us, like 15, 17 people with us, and we rented this huge ranch house, this one-floor house, so we can kind of control where people are, make sure everything's taken care of. And I am the producer on this show. Okay, so we're out one night and we're doing this night shoot, and we come back to the house. And I'm not thinking about anything. I'm doing my business. I'm checking off boxes, making sure things are done, and we're making sure we have copies of the tape, so we don't lose anything. We're going to be flying back East Coast. We don't want to. We want duplicates. And everybody else, it's in the middle of the night. We've done this night shoot, so it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, something like this. And people are out by the pool behind this house, and they're having a nightcap. So I'm not thinking about anything. I'm doing reports. I walk out there. They offer me a glass. This is fantastic. Okay, great. I raise my glass. We're going to remember, I don't have anything to drink at this point. I raise my glass. We're going to make a toast. I see in the glass this glint of light. And, your mind is searching for things. You're trying to, what was that,
Right.
And I think to myself, oh, that's the moon. That's the moon. And I went, wait a minute. That's not the moon.
Right.
There was no moon tonight. We wanted it completely black out there so we can control the way the light works.
Right.
And this is happening in seconds. And as I drop my hand, I see right above the house, okay, where the pool's in the back, right above the house, is this thing, this blue-green, self-luminous thing. And I almost, well, okay, dot. You know what I mean? I was that. And I went, what? And as I'm doing this, one of my camera guys is right here beside me. I grab his name's Scotty, and I grab him and I turn him and I said, Scott, look. And he says, oh my. And just then, like I said, there were like 15 so people out here. People are like, oh, what is that? Oh my God. Is that a UFO? What? And I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking, this has got to be like a Mylar balloon. Like one of those get well balloons that you take in a hospital, or a happy birthday.
Yeah.
But the problem is that this thing is as big as a Volkswagen. And it is about 30 feet above, like 45-degree angle from me. Vic, I'm gonna tell you something, Don. I could have thrown a baseball and hit it.
Oh wow.
And I am about to lose my mind. I'm like, what in God's name? And this thing moves so, I mean, blink of the eye, zigzag, and right above my head.
Oh wow.
And it stops. And please forgive me. I don't know how long it was there. It could have been there a millisecond. Could have been there an hour. I don't know. But what happened was I felt the world drop out from underneath me when it was right above my head. And I've described this feeling to other people like this. I'm sure you've been on a shore, right? And you stand on the shore and the water comes up over your ankles. And as it goes back out, it starts to pull the sand out from underneath you.
Yes.
And you feel like you're going to fall back.
Yeah. Yes.
It feels just like that. And what happens to me, and put a pin in this because this is very important, this part, I become terrified. And I mean scared, like I'm not a small guy.
Right.
I'm about 6'3" and 270. There aren't many things that make me nervous, scare me.
Right.
People usually leave me alone, I'm not a badass. I'm just saying that, people leave me alone.
Right.
And I was petrified. This thing then zigzags away from me like 20 feet away, stops again. People are still buzzing. Whoa, what is this? And then it just drifts off. Now, remember, this place is all flat. So we watched it as it drifted off like a minute, 2 minutes away, a minute and a half, 2 minutes away. It just drifted and then blink out. Well, everybody is buzzing about this thing. Meanwhile, I'm dying. And the way I try to describe it to people is this. I say, have you ever been so sick, so cold, maybe like with a flu or something, your insides are shaking, right?
Yeah.
Or like you cried so hard or you vomited so hard that you can't stop your insides from trembling? That's the way I felt. Now, remember, this is important. I'm in charge of all these people. So I don't want to look like an ass, right? So I'm trying to get my stuff together here. And I say really stupid thing. I say, oh, all you young whippersnappers can sit up and drink. I got to do business. I got to go back. And I go to the room, and when I do, Dawn, I'm not proud of this. I shut the door, I locked it, and I pushed my bed up against the door, barricaded it, and threw my luggage on. And I sat in a corner, and I cried my eyes out.
Mm.
Now the reason this happened was this. Okay, now I'm going to transport you back. Remember, I told you I'm going to tell you this backwards. Okay.
Right.
Okay. That feeling that I had when this thing was right above my head, I had not had that feeling since I was 7 years old.
Mm.
Okay. And so let me transport you back to when I was 7. I'm 56 years old. Okay. So we're talking back in the 70s, early 70s when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I'm 7 years old, and my bedroom was on the second floor, okay, of my parents' home. And we weren't wealthy. There were no air conditioning in the house, that sort of thing. The windows were open, and it was August, and it was really, really humid. And I woke up in the middle of the night to hear this buzz, this kind of droning like this. Okay. And it bugged me. It woke me up. And I was, I'm a little kid. I don't know what the heck I'm listening. I don't know anything. And I'm just angry. I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm tired. Leave me alone," this sort of thing. And I couldn't get back to sleep. So I get out of bed and I go to the bathroom. I do my thing in there. I pour the water. And the water runs for a really long time. And I can't remember why. It just ran. And I stood at it. I stared at it. So I turn off the water and I go to open the bathroom door, right? And as I open the bathroom door, standing in the doorway, facing me, is what to my eyes looked like somebody I had seen on television 1,000 times.
Mm.
Do you remember an old show when we were kids called Ultraman?
Yes, I
He
remember
was
Ultraman.
okay.
I
Remember,
remember.
he was this huge silver guy
Yes.
who fought the monsters, right? And he
Yes.
did
Yes.
something like this or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Now he was a good guy. He fought the bad guys, right? So
Right.
I'm a little kid. I love him. He's my comic book guy, right?
Right.
And I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, man, this is Ultraman. So I had no fear at this point, right?
Right.
But the only difference is that I was like the smallest kid in my class until high school.
Right.
So this guy was little. He was my size.
Oh wow.
And so I'm looking at him and he's looking at me, and we get really close. And Don, I'm telling you, like nose to nose. Okay.
Oh wow.
And we're looking at each other. And then all of a sudden, I started to feel that feeling about that sand slipping out from under. Okay, so check this out. I lose my mind. I'm petrified. I'm a 7-year-old kid. I am petrified. And just like a drowning man flails his arms, I wasn't kung fu fighting, man. I was like grabbing for dear life. I literally lay hands on this cat. I lay hands on him. There is this bright flash of light. All of this movement. I feel like I'm moving, but I can't tell. I see all these lights, green and blue and yellow and magenta and all this other stuff, like almost like I'm on a merry-go-round way, way too fast, way, way too fast. And I'm in the middle of this. And when I kind of come to my senses, I'm still in this fight. But literally now, he is in the bathroom and I'm in the hallway. Like we got switched around, right? And I'm in the middle of this and I reach for him. And as I do, he raises I say him, I don't know, is it him? Okay. But this thing raises his hand and touches me on the left shoulder, right? I feel this wave like hit me in the chest and I fall backwards. Now, right behind me in the hallway was a stairwell. It was all hardwood. So I fall back and man, I'm falling ugly. I'm flipping over. I'm banging my head. I'm smashing off walls and I am screaming like a banshee, man. I am screaming my head off. I'm hurt and I'm scared to death. My parents, they're disturbed. Their bedroom's on the first floor. They come running around like, what the hell's going on? My dad's a big guy, mill worker. And he said, what the hell's going on? I said, Ultraman's upstairs. Somebody, and I'm sure he hears, intruder, right? He bounds up the stairs. And he's up there, and my mom is looking at me trying to hold, because I'm shaking like a little, crazy person. I'm screaming. And she's trying to console me. And after some time, my dad comes to the top of the stairs, and he looks pissed. He looks really pissed because there's nothing there, right?
Right.
And he's upset because he, was working a double or whatever. And so, now he's mad. And he looks disgusted at me. And, and I feel that. Because I love my dad. And so my parents take me upstairs, and they do what parents do, right? They open up a closet. They say, "See, there's nothing here." Well, look under the bed.
Nothing there.
Nothing there. And so they lay me down. My mom kissed me on the head, and man, I was so, all that adrenaline pumping through my body. It just, like, I went into a coma, man. Boom, I was dead. I just laid down and I was asleep. Now, I often tell people that I have to pull the age card here because, today you can't get kids off the couch or from away from their desk because they're looking at their screens, right? But back when we were kids, this, we grab a waffle, we're running outside. You're outside all day, right?
All day, yeah.
Right, all day long. And your mom calls you for dinner. She got to call you 2 or 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, my mom's screaming at me. I come in, and I felt beat up. But it was like I got beat up by a bully. I didn't talk about it. We played ball, we did whatever. And so my mom's like, "You are disgusting," because I was outside all day. And remember, it was very, very humid. She said, "We're going to get a bath before dinner." And I'm a little boy. I don't want to take a bath. My mom is struggling with me to take off, my T-shirt. So, and she's looking, and she sees all the cuts and all the bruises all over my body and my head and stuff. And she gets to my shoulder, and she says, "Oh, honey, what happened here?" And I'm looking at her like, "Mom, I told you, Ultraman. I tried to tell you." And she looked really sad, right? And so she gives me this little kiss. She says, "It'll be okay, honey. It'll be okay." So we get to the bath, and I don't know what we ate. Meatloaf, fish sticks. I don't know what the heck. Mac and cheese. And so a couple of days later, my dad's taking me to the doctor. And as we pull into the parking lot, he says to me, "Now listen, son, we go in here. I don't hear any of this shit about Ultraman." Right?
Right.
You keep that to yourself. Now, okay, look, I'm 7 years old. I have no idea of if this is important or not. All I know is my dad, who I adore, is telling me to shut up. And so I'm going to shut up. No issues, right? No issues. So we get in there. Now, remember, I'm 7, so I'm stupid. So the doctor's checking me out. And remember, this is a couple of days later. So the bruises are starting to yellow and the cuts are healing. And he's looking, checking me out. And then he gets to my shoulder and he says, "Oh, sport, what happened here?" And I go, "Well, there was this guy." And my dad looks at me like he is going to cut my head off. And I went, "Oh." And, once again, it wasn't that I was afraid of my dad. It was just that, once again, back in the 70s, if your dad gave you the look, you know what the hell the look is, right?
That's right.
Okay. So I went, well, I was just playing. I fell, something like this. Hey, Sarah Russell. Anyway, so I shut up. And then, after some time, doctor gave me a lollipop. I walked out the door, right? Didn't think anything about it. So my dad's driving me home. And as we pull into the driveway of my parents' home, he says to me, "Now, son, I'm serious now. I never, ever want to hear about this Ultraman guy again. I want you to shut up about it. I don't want you to tell anybody about it. I want you to shut up about it. I don't want you scaring your sisters. I don't want you scaring your mother. Shut up." And, once again, I don't understand why this is important as a 7-year-old kid. And I love my dad. So, yeah, Dad, whatever you say, of course. And I also knew that I had almost blown it. And I didn't want, I wanted my dad to approve of me. So I lie about it my entire life. And people ask me about it, they say, "Well, look, weren't you, I did a lot of sports when I was in high school and college. And you know how it is. You're in the shower, you're in the locker room, and hey, Yost, what the hell is that on your shoulder? And I would say stupid stuff like, yeah, I got hit by lightning. Yeah, a shark bit me. Somebody shot me. I got stabbed by a harpoon. And they would say, yeah, you're an ass. But look, man, it took like 3 seconds for that to happen, right? 3 seconds. And then they stopped asking because anything would have been better, Don. Anything would have been better than to say to my friends or people that I liked or wanted to like, hey, listen, man, I was abducted when I was a kid. So you never wanted to say that because it would have been the end of you.
Yeah,
And so,
you end up in the cycle in
yeah.
the cycle ward. So
So what happened was I lived like that my entire life. Never talked about it. Never. And that when you live on lies, it affects you. You don't
of
think it
course
does. You don't
it
think it
does.
does, right?
It does.
But it affects you, and it poisoned me. It touched everything in my life because I had to lie about it every time, right?
Right.
And I didn't think about it. I could tell you everything about it, but I I didn't talk about it until that night in Borrego Springs, like 45 years later, that this thing happened. And when I was suffering on that floor, in that room in the big ranch house, it wasn't like I was a 52-year-old guy going through it. It was a 7-year-old kid who had never gone through it, right? Had never dealt with it, whatever.
Right.
So what happened was the very next day. Now I'm back to present day. Okay, so this is a couple of years ago, 3.5 years ago or so. I'm mad at myself because I got to get my stuff together. I'm in charge, right?
Right.
Think of me as like a foreman, a line foreman, right?
Right.
So I got to get in charge. I got to get some stuff done. I'm going to take a hot shower. I'm going to get up there the next morning and I'm going to do it. I find that I can't walk outside. I'm afraid of big sky and I'm afraid of water. And I am like completely incredulous. Like, how the hell did this happen? What in God's name? And this is debilitating because a guy like me has to go search for new locations and stuff.
Right.
I can't go by myself, right?
Mhm.
I finally I get through the shoot a couple of days later, and I finally get back to the East Coast. And but when I get off the plane, family and friends know there's something wrong. There's something changed about me,
Mm.
and um, and it got so bad, Don, that I would get to work early or get to work late, and I would wait for other people, and then I would run in with them. You know what I mean? So, and think about this. This looks ridiculous. What the hell is wrong with this big guy who came? Hey, Sean.
That's Sean.
So, it paralyzed me. It paralyzed me. It neutered me, and it was affecting everything about my life. So
Right.
I say at this point, I was so angry at myself because I couldn't beat it. I'm used to, hey, listen, you got a problem, you deal with it, you rub dirt,
Yeah.
you take a lap, you work it out, right? And I can't do it. I cannot do it.
Right.
And smarter people would have, look for some help or whatever. But what I did was this. I said, look, you're nobody special. This is what I kept saying. You're nobody special. I'm sure other people have had this type of experience.
Right.
And so I want to find out how they dealt with it, right? And so I started to read some stuff, and then I started to find people, and I would talk to them, and then I would videotape the interview, and then finally I was able to talk to them about what happened to me. And then something happened, and this is what caused me to make the film. Okay, I tell you all this BS to get you to this point. I could tell you without any kind of problems. I mean, I had emotional issues about it, but I mean, verbally, I could tell you fact by fact what happened to me that night, except one piece. And I never, ever gave it any considerable thought, but it's probably very obvious to you. I could tell you everything except what happened to me during this kind of switcheroo
Mm.
where I'm in the bathroom and then all of a sudden I'm not in the bathroom and then all of a sudden I'm in the hallway. How did that happen? I could not. I tried and tried and tried and I could not remember it.
Wow.
So somebody had suggested this beautiful lady, wonderful lady, and I'm talking about like a guardian angel. You know, you ever hear about people who give this, shirt off their own back, this sort of thing?
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
always thinking about it. You know, you hear this term Christ consciousness, service to others. This time, this is that person, and her name is Debs Shakti. And they said you got to talk to this woman named Deb Shakti, and she does this thing called quantum hypnosis. And I mean, look, man. Remember, I am completely in the world. I'm not woo woo. I don't, I'm not into ghosts or spirits or any of this crap. This is who I am at that point. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. and then I meet this lady, right? Now
Yeah.
remember, I told you I'm kind of a big guy. She is this little tiny person. I mean, she looks like she jumped out of the pot of gold. She's like an elf. She's a tiny person. And
Right.
I don't want to be a jerk about this, but I was like, little lady, that sort of thing. And she just looked at me with this big smile and she said, well, we'll see. and, and then she said to me, and this is really important, and this is what really helped me and might help people out in your audience. She said, look, John, she said, I'm really not going to do anything. She said, all I'm going to do is teach you how to relax. You're just going to relax.
Mhm.
And when you relax, you're going to walk down that hallway that you built, and you're going to open the door that you locked, and you're going to open up that filing cabinet that you sealed. And all you're going to do is look, observe, and report what you see. She said, that's it. She said, we're not going to do it. So I had this idea that I had suffered so much, and I didn't know at that point how many people were like me and had experiences. Now I know it's millions actually, but
Yes.
I didn't know that. And so, but what I thought was, you know, maybe if we filmed this, we can help somebody. The original idea was just to film the session, and she was stubborn about this, man. She put her foot down. She said, "Look, we're not fooling around. This is not a carnival, man.
Right.
This is serious business. We're dealing with your psyche. We're dealing with your life, your heart, your
Mhm.
soul, your consciousness. We're not playing games, man." And I had to really talk to her for a long time to say to her that where my heart was with this, and about I wanted to help other people. I said, if people looked at me and thought I was an ass and thought I was a fool and a liar, whatever, but they, maybe, they had experiences, they could sit and watch this in the safety of their own living room, right? In the safety of a theater seat or whatever. And I could be a fool, but I could ask the questions that they would never ask, because they would be afraid what their friends would think of them or whatever. And I said, maybe I can help people. And so after a long time, she agreed. And what we did, man, she didn't want people around. We had to set up remote cameras and all this. Other guys couldn't be around. They had to be out of the room, out of the building, the whole bit. And at the end of it, it was a 6.5 hour session. And I was wiped out, exhausted at the end of this thing. And I found out. I found out, number one, who that cat was. And he was not Ultraman.
Mhm.
And I found out where they took me and what they wanted from me and how it all went down. And I found out other stuff like this hadn't been the first time. And it blew my mind. And part of me was scared to death. I'm not proud. I'm just telling you. Part of me was scared to death. Part of me was relieved because, at least now I could know, right? But I couldn't listen to that tape. I couldn't watch that tape for a long time. And then after a while, I could watch it, like 15, 20 minutes, 10, 15 minutes a little. And then eventually, I would get real emotional because what happens is when you watch that, Dawn, you don't see me, my big ugly Fred Flintstone. You see a little kid scared to death. And
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, man. You see a little kid suffering, it affects you.
Right.
And then when that little kid is you, man, it hurts you. It
It, tou- it,
hurts you.
it touches home.
Yeah, it really touches you.
So my,
And
my
so,
question to you is this.
yes, sir.
So you encountered this when you was younger,
Yes, sir.
and then 45 years you encountered the ship
Yeah,
above you guys.
yes, sir.
Now, I'm saying, uh, Are these people that are being abducted or even getting close to these aliens? Are they chosen?
Uh,
And because I say that because you you encountered that when you was young. 45 years later, you see it again, and you're a bunch all these people, but you felt that energy
yeah,
could have been that they were trying to unite with you after 45 years, let you know, like, yeah, let you know, John, what you saw then is real.
yeah.
This is it's real.
I got the distinct feeling after everything was done that that was like a knock on my door, like,
Right,
hey, we're still here, that sort of
right,
thing. And you got to know this, Don. In this world, man, you got a lot of liars out there, and you got a lot of crazy people, and you got a lot of grifters, and all these egomaniacs. Now, look, but that being said, you also have a lot of people who are truly honest to God,
right,
real salt of the earth people who have had something incredible happen to them. Okay, so the problem is, it's like the Wild West. How do you separate, whatever? And I just have to tell you that when that happened to me, I was shocked to my core, and everything. And I'm not talking about details. I'm talking about the emotion, the raw fear emotion. So, as far as being chosen goes, one of the things I say in the film, I said, I don't know, was I being punished or was I being blessed? I didn't know. I didn't
right,
know. Like I said, I don't have the answers. I'm searching for the answers, right?
right.
So one of the things we do in the film is we talk about why this happens to people. Why me? Why me?
Exactly.
And here's the thing. There are all kinds of this film. I don't want you to think about this film like it's about me, because it's really not. I have to
Yeah.
make the film, but it's not about me at all.
It's you
It's
telling the
about,
story.
yeah, yeah, but it's about us. I mean, it's you and me and us and our species. In addition to that, there are like 5, 7 other people that we go through their abduction sequences. And what you discover is that some of them are a little bit like me, but most of them are totally, totally different.
Right.
Okay. So what happens is that you start to realize that there are all kinds of different reasons that people are taken. So let me give you this. What I try to do, remember, so I'm a filmmaker. So what I do is I put narratives out so people can understand. And it doesn't do me any good if I speak like a PhD and nobody understands me, right?
Right,
It,
right,
it, it behooves me to speak to us, to people, right?
right.
And
Make
so
it
what I
make it
do,
as clear as you can so
yeah,
people can understand it.
so what I do in the film is I do these little, I don't want to say parables, but these little stories, okay? And so here's a story that'll help you understand this, okay? Elon Musk, right? And
Yes.
he got all this SpaceX and everything, and he wants to go to Mars, okay? So in my little story that I tell in the movie, okay, a spaceship takes off from Earth and it lands on Mars, okay? And out of the doors comes somebody from Kenya, Africa, somebody from Asia, somebody from Norway, somebody from
Egypt.
Germany. Okay, so you're getting the idea of what they look like.
Right.
All kinds of different sizes, different colors. Okay,
Yeah.
and out comes a little Martian guy. Remember, I told you this is just a story to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
illustrate. So the Martian guy says, "Well, who's the Earthling?"
Right.
Okay, well, they all look different. They all have different body shapes, because of evolution, because of what they ate, because of their culture. They all speak different languages, all this others, and they all have different agendas. One of them might be military. One of them might be, hey, I'm here for scientific, studies.
Reasons, yeah.
Another might be a tourist. Another one might be for, I want to take over the world. Okay, all of this. Now, watch this, all of this from one spaceship from one planet. Okay. Now, if you think about the universe, billions and trillions of planets, billions and trillions of possible intellects, okay, that come here, how do we possibly know, number one, everything about these people and what exactly they're going to do. Look, so that's why somebody's experience can be totally different than mine.
Right.
And they're not lying, they're telling the truth.
Right.
Because, they got the guy from Norway, let's just say, and
Yeah.
I got the guy from Asia. I mean, okay, fine. They got different ideas and different things that they're looking at. And so it's hard to say why people are chosen. I can tell you in my particular case, well, I'll just share with you some things about that session. Maybe this will help clear up some things. First of all, it was not Ultraman who took me. It was some sort of screen memory. Okay. It was, and for people who don't know what screen memories are, it's like this. It's like, when people have tremendous trauma, they somehow cloud their memory with something that they feel comfortable with to protect them from that trauma. And it's almost like a blister. You're working with your hands, you get a blister. And the reason is to protect the skin underneath, right? Because you're damaging it. And so for me, I wonder now today, after the film has been out, was this screen memory from me to protect me as a little boy? Because I could see that character and I didn't feel any fear. Or was it somehow projected into my mind so I wouldn't be afraid, so I would go with him, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. But what that was is more like an insectoid type of creature. It looked like to me. I've heard people talk about mantis. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. This cat looked like a gigantic ant, and he had very, very dark eyes and very brown skin, and he had antenna coming out of his head like this, and also out of his cheeks like this. But they didn't look like, how like antenna look almost like they're armored. You know what I mean? They have this exoskeleton on them. Didn't look like that. They looked like they were truncated, almost like they had been sawed off. And they were. I want to say, I try to. They almost look like they had fur on them, like antlers on a baby deer. You know what I'm saying? They just come out. They have fuzz on them.
Yeah.
It looked like that. And he had taken me before. And in what really happened, I was fighting him because I recognized him. I didn't see Ultraman in my mind at the real time. It was only afterwards when I tried to remember what was going on. I said, oh, that was Ultraman. No, it wasn't. It was this cat. And what had happened was they took me, but they didn't take me on any kind of ship or anything like that. They took me underground. And I could smell. You know how you could smell moisture, in the air, like when it's about to rain.
Yes.
I could smell the moisture, and it was dark and dank, and it was gigantic. Dawn, it was like what I try to tell people. People say, "Well, how big?" And I said, imagine this. What if I walked you out into the middle of a stadium at midnight, and I left you there all by yourself? Nobody was in the stadium, and we turned off all the lights. That feeling of how huge this is. I said, that's how it felt. And at the top, there was this hole, and I could see that it was irregular, meaning like, it wasn't perfectly circular. And it looked like there was some growth coming down from it. And I could see stalactites and stalagmites. So I knew that I was underground. And I've heard all kinds of people talk about these medical experiments. They were uninterested in me.
Right. Right.
Maybe I was just too average, right?
Right.
But what they did was they had me in this. I can't remember a chair. I can't remember, but it was like I was suspended backwards. Okay, and in front of me were these gigantic screens, and I'm talking like, I don't know, 50, 60 feet. 30 feet, I don't know, huge. I'm a little kid. I'm looking up at them, and there are three of them, and they're gigantic. And it's like, do you remember the mall when in the 90s, they used to have these pictures of like President Lincoln or President Washington, and you get real close to them and you can see that they're made up of all these other pictures of Washington in different poses.
Yeah.
Step back, it looks like
It looks
Washington, right? You know what I'm saying? Like pictures within a picture within a picture. And that's what it was like. And it was moving. And I'll tell you something, I was always very anal retentive, even as a kid. I got to have all my things in line and everything else. And I was mad because the images were moving really, really fast, and they were moving from my right to my left. And when I was 7, I can see clearly. I was learning how to write cursive. You know, kids don't do it now; they just type. But I was writing cursive, and I was mad because you write English from left to right, and they were doing it wrong, and I was mad at them. And I mean, this is why I say to you, you know, this is like you look at me and you go, "That's a little boy." You know, who's, you know, why is it important to you? Because that's what I had just learned in school, you
Right.
know. And I was pissed off because they were doing it wrong. But they were, the messages were not the pictures. The messages were inside. They were within the lines, with inside and inside and inside. And they were somehow pumping this information in my head. And the message really was, I mean, there's a lot of information. Like I said, that session was like 6.5 hours long.
Mm.
But the message is basically this, is that, you know, today you got people, you know, you got 3 kinds of people. You got people who go, you guys are full of crap. You know, everybody's wearing a tinfoil hat. You're a moron, right? You got those people. Then you got people in the middle who kind of say, well, you know, the universe is so big and mathematically, okay, fine. But what does it have to do with me? How does it affect me and the cost of rice? Whatever, who cares? And then you got like me over here on the end going, hey, everybody, there's something going on. Okay. Within my lifetime, something's going to occur
Oh yeah.
that there's not going to be anybody in the first and the second bucket anymore. Now, look, they may disagree about what it is, okay? They may fight about it's angels, it's demons, it's aliens, it's Arcturians, it's, you know, guys from, they're going to fight about that,
Right.
but they're not going to fight about it's happening, okay? So those buckets are going to be erased. Everybody's going to be at the block party at the end going,
Right.
what the is going on?
No. Yeah. I
And
agree.
so the reason this is important is this. Don, when that happens, it's really going to hit the fan.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to, and I say in the movie, it's going to be, you know, like the best of time is going to be the worst of time. It's going to be the best because, like for me, when I had that revelation to me, when I went under that and went back in time, I was so freaking petrified. But I was also relieved because I finally knew, you know what I mean? And for some people, it's going to be too much.
Right.
And you're going to have people who are going to break down, lose their stuff. You're going to have people who kill themselves because they're going to think it's the end of the world. You're going to have all kinds. You're going to have people who are so scared. And what you're going to have is you're going to have people down at the end of the cul-de-sac like you and other people in your network and maybe me, I don't know. They're going to go, listen, I thought you were lying all that time. And what? I'm sorry. What do we do? How do we deal with this? How should I think about this? You know, and we're gonna need to help those people, even if it's just calming them down. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's gonna change everything,
Right.
and it's already started. It's
Yes,
already started
it
because
has.
you know people are upset about. You know, some people in this UFO. I don't. People ask me all the time, "Do you know this guy?" I don't know anybody. Man, I didn't have social media until this film came out. Right? I didn't know anything. I didn't know about podcasts. I didn't know anything. And then, you know, the film came out and I wanted to share people and let them know about it. So that's when I started. People ask me, oh, well, do you know this guy? I don't know anybody in this community. I don't know anything. So, but, you know, all of this stuff coming out with the government now, right? And people are ticked off about it because they get they get a couple crumbs, but they don't get really the answer they want. Oh,
Right.
shit. I got excited to pop this thing right out of my ears. Hold on, please. Um, but they didn't get the answer they wanted, right? And they didn't get, you know, full disclosure or anything like this. And I say, listen, you guys are looking at this totally wrong. This is what I mean. Remember I said that, you know, there are these 3 kinds of people.
Yes.
So think about it this way. This disclosure comes out. Okay. And it's not complete, you know. And part of it is the government is afraid, and part of it is they've been lying for a long time, and part of it is that's what governments do. I don't
Right.
care if you're in France or if you're in the UK or if you're here.
They're all
Governments
in the
lie.
thing.
They lie. They lie because they need to control the information, right?
That's
They need
right.
to control it. And, you know, they tax and then they control. They control who you live with, how fast you can drive. This is what they do. They're like a shark. They bite you. Oh, I'm so upset at the shark. Who bit me? That's what the shark does. You can be
Right.
mad, but the shark bites you. Anyway, so they come up with this stuff and they don't really lay it out. But what happens is really interesting, man. It's the nuance of these things that you have to look at. When they came out, remember I told you about like the first group of people who say, you know, everybody's stupid, everybody's crazy,
Mhm.
you know, what are you thinking? You're all tinfoil hat. They, for the first time in their life, they do this. They go, what? The government's studying what? Wait, you mean those guys are crazy? What are they looking at? So the very first time in their lives, those first people, they look up. Now watch this. Watch, you're going to really bear down on this because it's important. They look up, and they look up with expectation, Don.
To see something.
because guess what? Authorities that they trust, government, DOD, whatever, military, they are saying there's something going on. So they look up with expectation. And watch this, even more so, man. Put the microphone, I mean, the magnifying glass on this. They look up with a sense of duty because before everybody was an idiot. But now these people who believe in these authorities, now they want to be part of that group and say, oh, well, you know, I always knew that this was, of course, you know, now
Yeah.
that it's safe to say. And they feel this duty to report because now there's a whole mechanism. And if you report it, well, that's good. Then you send it to the military and they're going to check it out and everything else. This is normal now and it's allowed. You're not a crazy person. And then you take a look at the second group of people that I mentioned. These people who say, oh, you know, billions of stars, but how does it affect me? They say, oh, wait a minute. That study came out and they said, wait, they're spending my tax money on what? They look up for the first time in their life with expectation and a sense of duty. And the rest of us are down here, you know, roasting up some chicken, waiting for them to come down to the block party
Right.
and say, hey, man, we've been here the whole time.
Right.
And it's a very sobering thing. But this is why this, you know, my film is different than other documentaries. And it's really important for me to share this with you, Don, is this. I'm sure you've seen UFO and alien documentaries in the past. I'm
Yes,
sure.
all the time.
Okay.
I see. I
Okay.
watch. I'm a big fan of Bigfoot
Yep.
and UFOs because it's kind of similar.
Yep.
It's something that people talk about
Yeah.
and
Well, you're gonna.
and can't truly prove
Yeah.
because you know we're human. So for a lot of people, for people that are open minded, real open minded, would say, you know what, his story could be believable because we're not the only ones in this planet. We do know there's other stuff happening in other planets, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, but for those that are not open minded, will be like, well, he's just a story. He's just telling a story. Blah blah blah. I need proof. I need
Yeah.
solid. I need something to see to verify the
Yeah.
story. You know, so it's hard for you. You know, that's been through that situation, being
Yeah.
abducted. You know, to tell a story and write a book about it or you know, documentary, and for people to say, I believe it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well. Let me share this with you. I want to share a couple of things with you. Number one, you know, and trust me, I get my fair share of criticism, as you can imagine.
of course, I'll give you. You get it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. And I always say, look, you know, my job is not to convince you. That's not why I put the film out. The film is to help people who have experienced this,
Exactly.
or people who have friends and family that have gone through this and they don't understand it. This is to help them understand it. But if you say I'm full of, you know, crap, well, oh, God bless you. I fight with you. That's
Right.
fine. That's fine. So, but this is what I say to them. I say, look, you know, if you got on the phone and you're in Boston, right? So I'm down here in Pennsylvania. And if I tell you, if I get you on the phone, I hear, Dawn, man, whew, it's like a typhoon down here. It's raining like hell. And you look outside and it's perfectly bright. And you say, you're full of crap. It's a beautiful day.
Right.
And I say, Dawn, I'm looking outside. It's storming. And you say, you're a liar.
Right.
I can't see it, so you're a liar.
Right.
Okay, that's kind of a foolish argument. And that's what I try to share with people. I'm like,
Hey,
wait a minute, you gotta understand there are more facts than you specifically understand. And then when I
right.
push even further, I said, look, man, I said, when's the last time you tasted air? You never did. How do you know air is there? How do you know it's there? Well, you don't know it's there, except you can see the effects of
Facts.
air
Right.
because it's pushing the trees down. What is that? Is that an invisible hand pushing it down?
Right.
Is that me over in the woods pushing it down? Or
Right.
is it air pushing it? Okay. I had this argument the other day, well, quite a while, I apologize, quite a while ago, with this atheist guy. And this atheist guy was like what you said. I got to see it. I got to believe it, whatever. Okay. I said, fine. I said, so if you can't see it, then it doesn't exist. He said, yes. I said, okay. I invite you to stand in front of an X-ray machine for 2 weeks. You can't see the X-rays. There's no way it could cook your insides. I guarantee you. Because that's kind of a moronic idea. Think about this, Vic. Don, I keep wanting to call you Vic because Victor. I'm thinking
It's
Victor, right?
okay. I
So
get it all.
Don,
It's all good.
yeah, I'm sorry, Don. I'm sorry.
No, you can call
But
me Vic. It's fine.
no,
Vic.
I call you Mr. Vic. How's that, sir?
Whatever you want. It's
Mr.
fine.
Vic. But think about this, man. 500 years ago or whatever, people used to think that illness was caused by evil spirits, right?
Right.
Put a curse on you, whatever. Okay, watch this. Then along comes the microscope, right? And people can see viruses and they can see bacteria and fungi and all this other stuff. Okay, so here's a question. Did the bacteria and the fungi and all this other stuff, did it spontaneously create itself when the microscope came along? Or was it always there and we finally built the tech that we could see it?
Exactly.
Okay, and is that paranormal or is that science? People talk about, I believe in science. Okay, well, guess what? Your eyes, here's some science. I don't mean you, us,
Yeah, I know.
humans, okay? Our eyes see this much of the spectrum of light. Don't believe me? Ask the military, right? So if you heard of night vision, so look, Don, I've used this example 1,000 times. Don, you and I are standing on top of the hill, right? And we're guarding this hill. And some bad guys are at the bottom of the hill, right? It's midnight. And we got our night vision glasses on, right? And we look down, we can see the bad guys coming, right? So we're getting ready. And what I do is I take off my night vision glasses. I can't see them anymore. I go, whoo, that's good. I'm glad they're gone. I'm about to have a bad night, Don.
That's
I'm
right.
about to have a very, very bad night. You are going to be much more successful tonight than I am. Okay,
Right.
so here's the point. If I can't see it, then it doesn't. Listen, that's a stupid argument.
It is.
Stupid. But people don't think of it that way. And the reason is because of our ego. See, this is the thing. This whole idea of life outside ourselves or other or ghosts or Bigfoot or whatever, the reason that we have a hard time believing it is because our ego is so entrenched. We believe that we're in control of our lives. We believe that we're in control of our atmosphere. Watch, you woke up this morning, you pressed a button, you got magic coffee come out of a box. You got into your car, pressed a couple buttons, talking to people around the world, sending information around the world wirelessly. You got in this car that took you to your air-conditioned office or heated office or whatever. We control our everything. Something outside of our experience is BS. Everything else is BS. It doesn't matter to us. We don't give a crap. Meanwhile, those bad guys or those good guys in this particular case are coming up over that hill. And we are completely blind to it. Let me ask you this. Okay, so everybody understands what an eagle is, right? Or a hawk. Okay. Do hawks and eagles have better eyesight than us? Of course they do. Okay. Now let me ask you this. Is that supernatural? No, not at all. God just gave them better eyes. They can see miles away. We can't see. So wait, does that mean that muskrat on that hill does not exist? No, we're morons if we think that. We're morons.
Yeah.
So I tell you all of that to say this. You've seen 1,000 videos. That's what I was trying to get to. You've seen all kinds of documentaries, right? Okay. You know this. Most of these documentaries are done by investigators
Right.
who are really, really smart. They have all kinds of details and all kinds of stuff. And what they do is they kind of present it, give you clips, and then you hear, some announcer in the background, well, this and this and this. Okay. The reason is because they're really smart people and they have all kinds of facts and figures. So when you leave watching that stuff, you have a lot of information, but you're really not moved.
Right.
You might be intellectually stimulated, but you're not moved. Okay. And the reason is because they're really not movie makers. They don't make films. They recorded all kinds of stuff, but they didn't make a movie. Okay. And also all their videos are third person. Like, okay, we're looking over there. That's the deal. This film is made by somebody who had experiences themselves and also happens to be a filmmaker. So when you watch it, it looks like a movie. Okay. So you get all of the very, very high end production values that you would never get in another documentary. The second thing is it's first person. So Donnie, if you ever do me the favor of watching this film, you're going to see that you are with me, literally in my pocket or on my shoulder, and you are going through this abduction experience with me. You feel all of the terror. You see all of the horror. You understand what's going on and the stakes that are, and you kind of are transported back. And then when you see these other people talk, you might say, okay, well, John, I don't know, but that guy, he reminds me of my uncle. Or this person, that is my sister or my aunt or my friend or my neighbor. You see these people who are real people, salt of the earth people, and smart. My God, man, a bunch of people with advanced degrees. They have their own businesses, their international practices, all this other stuff. And you go, that could be somebody I've been working with all my life.
That's right.
And yet they have this incredible experience that they're trying to deal with and trying to share. So you have this immersive kind of experience when you watch this film. And here's the thing. The reason that it's so important is is the stakes are so incredibly high. A lady could tell you, Don, all about pregnancy. And you can understand it, right? You can get it. But there is no way you can possibly truly empathize because you've never carried anything growing in your belly.
Exactly.
And you've never, given birth. You can understand, you can sympathize, and you can be supportive, but you can't understand. And I don't mean here, I mean here. Okay.
Right.
So when you leave my film, you will understand. And this is what my mission is. This is what I feel honestly is to share this experience with people so they understand that they can, from the safety of their couch, like I said, they don't have to be there, and they can understand it. And then the idea is this first film, I have an idea for a couple more films because, you can't eat an elephant in one bite, right?
I wish I could.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. I look
You know how
like
big
I
we gotta
did.
open our mouth?
I look like I did. That's my problem. But okay, so you can't eat an elephant in one bite. So what happened was, this film, I started off where the world is in ignorance. I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that like people don't understand or people don't know, right? And when you don't know something, you can easily be afraid of it. I use this example like, you walk into a room, it's totally dark, and you see something near a chair, and you turn on the light real quick, and you see it's your jacket hanging over the chair. But for a second, you thought it was somebody in your house.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Hot starts beating.
Oh, yeah. But as soon as you understand it, you can come from that fear. Hello, Liz. You can come from that fear, and you can start to understand and come to some sense of peace.
Mm-hmm.
So this first film is to take people from ignorance and fear to some sense of understanding. Not complete. Look, I'm not a miracle worker. I'm not trying to heal anybody. I'm just trying to say, look, you're not alone. And here's different ways to think about this. Maybe this helps you. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does. And the second film This one is called Alien Abduction Answers, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's on Amazon, it's on
Okay, I was
YouTube, it's
gonna
on
ask
Google
you that.
Plus, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Is it on Tubi?
It's on Tubi as well. Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna watch it right after
yeah.
the show.
Beautiful.
You know,
Listen, Don, if you have any comments from me after that, I would love it. Please,
yeah,
send it to me privately. It doesn't matter to me. I wanted to know. I want to know that it's touching people, right?
yeah,
Um. Anyway, so the idea for this first film is to take people from ignorance and fear to some sense of understanding, and then after I came to terms with that, different things started changing my life. And I went, how is this possible? I said to somebody, I think it's even in the film where I say, how can these shiny lights in the sky make you want to change who you are and how you look at things? How is that possible? And so the second film is to take people from that sense of understanding to a sense of integration, meaning like, look, so you walked in that room, you saw it was that big bundle on the chair, you got scared, you turn on the light, okay, well, look, now you can make choices, right? You
right,
can hang that coat up, right? Or you can leave it there and never be afraid again.
right,
Or you can never walk in that room again. Like, I'm not walking in because that's okay, but you can make choices based on the information. You integrated the information.
right.
So
Mhm.
the second film is going to be called Alien Abduction Awareness. And then the third film that I want to make is called Alien Abduction Ascension. Now, I know that sounds real woo woo, and I don't mean it to sound woo woo. Everything I do is not about necessarily them, it's about us. Okay. So this is what I mean. I don't care who you are, I don't care where you grew up, I don't care what religion, what education. We all share this. Watch. We were all born. We all were in a cradle. We all crawled on our faces. We all stumbled. We all toddled. We all bumped our heads. We
Amen to
all
that.
eventually, okay, and eventually we've been able to run. Okay,
That's
so the
right.
idea is after you integrate this information, you can make choices about your life. You want to choose to ignore it and say I'm an idiot? God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Whatever. God bless America. But you can be the guy who takes those night vision glasses. You could do that if that's what you want. But you can do it with education. You can't do it out of ignorance anymore. You can't do it because you're afraid anymore. You know what's going on. And then there are people like who have fully integrated this stuff and fully exploring it, like yourself and people in your network. You guys in general know that something's going on. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, what the hell's going on? Let's investigate. You
Mhm.
don't ignore it. You don't scoff at it. You say, look, I'm going to go in here open minded and just whatever the facts are, and
Right.
figure it out. Figure it
Figure
out.
it out.
And
That's my
even if
thing.
you can't figure it out, you're still accumulating information for other people to understand. And that's all I'm talking about. And we as a human race, okay, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what education, we as a human race have a duty for ourselves,
Right.
for our children, for our grandchildren to figure this out.
Right.
Because guess what? It now is touching all of us.
Yes.
Like I said, those three types of people, it's starting to touch all of us. It's touching all of our tax money. It's touching all of our press. It's touching our military. It's going
Okay.
to touch our economy. So
So
guess what? I don't give a crap what you say. It's touching you. Even if you don't want to think it. If you want to say this is all BS, guess what? It's still touching you. So it is incumbent upon you to discover this. It's incumbent upon you to find the answers
yes.
wherever they may lead. I,
Yes.
and I have to say this, Don, and I say it all the time. Look, I'm a nobody. I am a nobody. Don't listen to me. I'm nothing. You got people in this community who are like, oh, well, listen, all documents have to come through me and I shall be the purveyor of all. You know what? Run like hell from them.
Yeah.
Because see, here's what's happened. Usually those good folks have had this thing happen to them in some way, shape, or form. They had a sighting, something happened to them in the woods. Okay. And they realized for the first time in their lives that they are not the be all and the end all of everything. There's something other, there's something greater, there's something different, there's something
Just right.
strange.
That's right.
But what happens is after a while, it has to be about them. They have to be important. It has to be more about them than what's going on. So they continually do. It's almost like celebrities, like okay, celebrity has a great song. Okay, God bless you. That's fantastic. Okay, but now we find out that you go binge drinking and end up in, you dress like a horse and you beat up a cop because you need something for TMZ. Because now we need more hits on it. This is what happens to people. It becomes about them. And
Right.
they've lost the complete sense because they had that one thing happen to them. And it can't be like that.
Right.
That's why I say this film is about us. It's not about me. It's about us. And
Mhm.
I so want people to understand this because guess what? This kid is not smart enough to figure it out myself. I need you. I
Right.
need everybody who watches the film. I need all the other people, even the people who are somehow lost on their path and they're egocentric or whatever. I need everybody. We need everybody
Right.
because only together, because guess what, man? Play this out. Okay, there's an alien or a spirit or God or a devil or whatever. Not interested in Yost. Not interested at all. Interested in North America. Interested in the world. Going to have interactions and bump into all of our realities. That's why it's important for you and everybody else in your audience to know this, to engage in it, to figure it out. It's it's probably the most important thing that will ever happen to humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then so many unanswered questions.
Hmm.
This is why this is intriguing to me. And I have a lot of questions that I want answered as far as UFOs and aliens, and why are they touching certain people?
Yeah.
Why are these UFOs going to certain locations like Mexico? It's a
Sure.
lot of sighting in Mexico, Arizona. Why these certain places? I heard about the pyramids, you know, but I need to be involved.
Yes. You
Okay,
need to be
I
involved.
need to be involved because I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to be hands on what's going on instead of just having you here interviewing you, you telling me your story. Okay, it's fine, but I want to know.
Yeah.
So I got to involve myself with either you or the circle
Yeah.
that's investigating this to find
Yes,
out
sir.
these answers for those that don't believe, for
Yes, sir.
those that are skeptic about it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I seen the trailer, and you're right, it caught my eye. I want to see more. Why? Because I'm interested in the movie and what you put together. Plus, I am a fan of what's going on,
Yes, sir.
and I want to invest it. I want to know more about it. So you know, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I definitely want to. I definitely want to know because there's so much to understand of what's going on in our world. We know we're not the only ones. We can't be that close minded that we're the only uh, people living in this planet. I've done some research, and I know there's even people in the government that have left the government because of what they've seen going on, and they're afraid. Okay, not left because they decided, oh, I'm going to retire. Left because they were afraid of what they saw, afraid of what they know that's going on, and they don't want no
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
So, how can you be so blind to someone like that that's
Yeah.
coming and bringing forward this information? Just recently, I seen a guy that worked for NASA, and he had to go do something, and they brought him into a mountain, underground mountain,
Mm.
and there was a big door made out of metal. And he
Mhm.
was like, he asked the officer, the military there, well, how am I, how are supposed to people come in there with this big door? And the guy said, he replied, it's not the people going in, it's what might come out. Right.
Mm.
So the
Mm.
guy was like,
Mm.
He said to the guy, so, well, I got to go in there because I got to do some investigation. He said, you really want to go in there? And he goes, yeah, you guys are coming with me. And the military guy said, I can only take you to the door. So So he's saying, I start shaking. He start getting nervous because he's like, okay, I'm coming here to investigate something, and I got these military guys. They don't want to come in. So he asked the guy, is there something superficial in there? He goes, so there is something there, and we know from history, because this ain't new to us about aliens. We've been talking about this for centuries, probably before me and you were born. So there's obviously something out there. And like you said, they're using our tax money for it. They're doing this and that. So why would they spend all this type of money in something that's not even real? So we do have to open our eyes and check out the facts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now I understand that people are a little skeptical when someone say I was abducted, because it's something hard to take in, and because it doesn't happen to you, like you said, doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's just like saying, um, human trafficking, for an example, right? Just because you don't see it happening doesn't mean it's not happening.
Agreed.
It's happening while we talking right now. Someone around the world is being kidnapped right now.
Yes, sir.
But because we don't see it's not on social media all day, every day, then people be like, nah, I don't believe it. Until it happens.
Not raining here. It's not raining here.
It's not rain. Well, today's not raining here either, John. But I get your point.
Yeah.
I get your point. And I'm glad that you put in that documentary together to open up people's minds and letting them know that these things do happen, and there's a lot of people around the world that experience it. I never experienced it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be ignorant enough to say, well, I don't believe it because I never seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know there's other things that exist out there. We're not the only ones, and I've done some research. Just like the Atlantis, Alaska, the wall. What is back? See, that's another thing I'm interested in. What's back there that we can't go back there?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm excited. I want to see the movie. I'm going to watch it right after this interview and check it out, because listen, you have no idea how big of a fan I am of
that.
Of that, and I'm glad that you're in it, and bringing facts to the light to the people.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you.
Right. So, when are you going to work on the second film?
Well, look, one of the things, I'll share this with you. If things like this happen to you, you can't ever be the same.
Right.
Okay. It's like when you talk about, and I don't want to cheapen this, but I mean, like a woman who has a baby, she's never the same. She's a mom now, right? A guy who goes to war, somebody who goes to war, sees real action. They come back, they're never really the same, because it's so emotional. If this happens to you and you have this experience, you'll never be the same. And so what I want to say to you is, I lived a life for 45 years filled with deception and lying. And as I told you, and we agreed, you live like that, it affects you. It poisons you. It poisons you. It's a negative force in your life. That's all there is to it. And what's happened is that it's made me really honest. And much to the chagrin of some people, as you can imagine. But I try to be kind about it. But so I'll just tell you this. The movie that you're going to watch, another reason that it doesn't look like other movies that you've seen, is because it cost me $500,000 to make.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of bread.
Yeah.
And so I'm raising cash for my next film. And so when you say, when are you going to start working? I'm working my tail end off to try to raise that cash. And I think I'm going to do it, because like I said, you can't eat the elephant in one bite. What happened to me was there were more questions. I found out some things, but then I didn't find out everything.
Right. And as you
And
dig deeper,
yeah,
as you dig deeper, there's more questions that need to be answered. So
that's
yeah.
right. Dawn, you said something that was so important. You were talking about, oh, son of a gun, I'm getting old. I forgot right there. Oh, you said something about, I want to know. I want to know. And
Exactly.
if you saw the trailer, you heard me say, even if I
Yeah.
had to live with the fear,
Yes.
I
I
need to know. I
yeah, you
have
did
to
say
know.
that. It's funny
And
you
so
brought
what happens is that my fear was still there, but my desire to know the truth was more, it was greater, it was
yeah.
stronger. And I was willing to take it because I needed to know. I needed to know.
Right.
And so, these things haven't. What happened was after that experience in the desert, Borrego Springs, right, that kind of triggered me, and I started doing all this film. Is is that I thought, like, after this movie was over, I said to myself, oh well, hey, look, it's all over. I kind of, this happened, and it was okay. Maybe it was like I got beat up by a bully, like I said, and it happened when I was 7, and that was it. But then you crack that egg,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you become like a beacon. Hello, Linda Judd. You 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 crack that egg, and things start to happen. You no longer are blind. And so what you find out is stuff has been happening around you all the time
Mhm.
that you have ignored just because you didn't think it was important, whatever. I have a stupid story I'll tell you real quick. I've been going to the same office for over 13 years, right? And I'm driving the same way, back and forth, same way. And my wife's on the phone one night and she's saying, oh, you can pick up some milk or bread or whatever the heck it is. And I'm at this stoplight and I see this billboard. And I paused, I'm talking to her and I look at this billboard. I said, this is ridiculous. That is stupid. That's stupid advertising. Who the hell put that up? When the heck did that go? It was quiet on the phone and she said, um, that's been there for 8 years. And I said, wait a second, wait a second.
You
I don't
didn't
want to,
notice it for 8 years?
I said, I am the most observant guy I know. And it's important for me to see things on camera and to make sure that things are perfect or whatever.
Right.
I said, how in God's name? I have stopped at this light twice a day for 13 years. How the hell did I miss this for the last 8 years? But you know what? Now I cannot miss it. I see it every bloody time I drive by it, right?
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
call you back. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So
Okay.
what happens is that now now that my head has been cracked open, more things have started to happen, and I have equal measures of fear and wonder, but I still find myself in the same place, Don.
Right.
I need to know.
Well, I need to know too, John. So
Yeah, yeah.
you need to team up with me or something. When you're gonna do some investigations, we're gonna team up together when we out in the woods. Okay.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Okay. Because I listen, I'm a good listener and I'm open to a lot of things because I see a lot of things happening. I do a lot of research and those two particular things, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever they want to call it, and UFOs and sightings, that's been my biggest thing. Oh, and paranormal, those three things has been my biggest because those are questions that you're never right and you're never wrong.
Uh-huh.
You're like in the middle,
Yeah,
So because you're in the middle, you need to find out more information.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You need to find more information to either go with it all the way or to be skeptical about it.
yeah,
You know, and I'm that guy in the middle. I want
yeah.
to know more. I hear what everybody's saying and I see stuff on TV and I see documentaries, but myself, I want to know more. So I got to go there, either study more or get involved with people that are in the paranormal, which I am, people that are in, with the UFOs or people that are dealing or trying to find out about Sasquatch because that's what I want to know and I need to
Sure,
know.
sure.
Uh, and so So I get it 100%. And and for those people that don't believe, maybe they need to do some research, you know,
Yeah.
and and try to talk to people that have been abducted or had some type of connection with
Yeah.
UFOs and hear their stories.
Yeah.
Because not all those people that had those encounters are all professionals. It could be anyone that had
Yeah.
an encounter. It could be someone, I don't know, a farmer. It could be
Could
anyone.
be any. And I always say this. I always say this. Listen, do you think that only police officers see crime?
Oh no,
No,
we
everybody
see
sees
crime.
crime.
I see
Okay.
crime all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that a police officer could be robbed? Maybe he's off duty, he gets robbed. Of course he could. Could he get shot? Of course he could. Okay. So the idea of that, this guy's insulated, or okay, so I get some trash because of I've been working in the business for a long time. Oh, well, I said, look, so a police officer can't be robbed? Of course he could be robbed. Of course he might have come out of a life of crime and he turned into a cop, or his family's full of bad guys, or vice versa, or whatever.
Right.
I said, your arguments are ridiculous. The facts are the facts are the facts are the facts. It doesn't really matter, you know, whether you put those glasses on or you don't put those glasses on. Those bad guys are coming up over the hill, or those good guys are coming up over the hill. That's all there is to it.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with. And this is why I keep saying it over and over again. I am nobody. It doesn't. I don't want people to watch this film and go, "Oh, no, screw me. I'm
Right.
nobody." Watch, look, read, like you said. Watch, research, lay your hands on this stuff, touch it. But it's important, and this is really where I'm going from. I'm going for this, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a subject that's over there. It's a subject that's everywhere around us.
That's right.
It's the billboard that you, ladies and gentlemen, have driven past for 13 years or 50 years or 40 years that's been right there the whole time in front of your face.
That's right.
And instead of being surprised, instead of being shocked, instead of being afraid, look at that billboard. Decide for yourself. But don't ignore it. Look at it.
Right. Amen
That's
to
it.
that.
That's
Amen
it.
to that. Amen to that. Amen to that. So listen, I had a great time talking to you, and I
Thank
definitely,
you.
you got me where I'm going to be calling you. I'm gonna be your biggest fan, bro. So you better put a block on my number because I'm gonna be like,
No,
John,
no.
what about this? What about that?
Well, I hope you like the movie. I hope it doesn't suck.
No, 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 no. Listen, I've seen some sucky documentaries, and so this one, just the trailer of just caught my eye, and I wanted
Thank
to
you.
see more because
Thank you.
I'm interested in it. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's something that I've always caught my eye.
Yes, sir.
So knowing that you um put it together, and me knowing who put it together,
Yes,
oh,
sir.
makes me definitely want to see where you're going with it. You
Thank
know,
you. Thank you,
um,
sir.
and what how you thinking. Because
Yes, sir.
that's what I look at by the film. It's like where's your thought of mind going? Where you
Yeah.
going with it?
Yeah.
And that's important. So I want to thank you for coming on the show. You've been great, John. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
brother.
your story. If you have another encounter, make sure before they touch you, you call me because I want to be there. I want to either go up there in space. I want to check it out. Okay.
I'll
And
say, I'll say, take Dawn. Take
yes,
Dawn.
please take me. Listen, anywhere in space got to be better than this country. I swear. I'm ready to go anytime. Okay. So yeah, please tell them,
Amen.
give my address, send them over here. They can take me wherever they want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well,
Okay,
God
so
bless you. God bless you and your family, sir.
likewise, likewise. And I'll talk to you soon, John. Thank you so much.
All right, sir. Be safe.
Likewise.
Thanks, Don.
All
Ciao.
right. Thank you. Ciao. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was John Yost. Great guy, as you guys can see. And the movie is on Amazon, YouTube. I mean, Amazon, YouTube, I believe, and Tubi. If you guys want to watch the movie, it's called Alien Abduction Answers. Okay. I'm gonna watch it right after this. I'm gonna get something to eat, you know what I'm saying? Relax and watch this movie. So big shout out to John Yost, great guy. If you guys can see, and thank you guys for watching. Liz, Sean, um, who else is up here? Linda, thank you, Linda, for logging in. Raymond, Anthony, PDX, Paranormal, my man IG, Miss Mackenzie, and Sarah. Thank you guys for watching, and everybody on YouTube that's watching, everybody on Parapost that's watching. Thank you so much for watching the show. Tomorrow, I have another guest coming on the show. He is an artist, and we'll be talking to him about his music and upcoming music. So tune in for that tomorrow at 5 p.m. and we'll find out more about what he got going on. Again, I want to shout out Sugar Shack Bronx Sweets, my girl Yvonne from the Bronx. Anyone that's looking for a cake or any kind of pastry, that's the woman you want to talk to. She is amazing. You can go on her website, Sugar Shack Bronx Sweets, and you can check out all types of cakes that she got going on. So big shout out to her. Also, um, Global Ghost Hunt. Um, Big shout out to Global Ghost Hunt. Again, you guys can tune in on their page and check them out, see what they got going on. And again, any director that's willing or looking to do a paranormal film, make sure you reach out to me. I can connect you to Global Ghost Hunt, or you can reach out to Brian J. Lavardi or my brother Matt Baron, and we can make that happen for you. Okay. And again, big shout out to my girl Nicole Butler from Vegas, Sean C. Phillips, my man Shannon Lemire, working on the movie Black Creek with Cynthia Rothrock. She is the lead role in that movie. Can't wait for it to start so I can see what's popping. It's a Western action movie. And Cynthia is an actor. She's been all through, she's done a lot of movies. Check it out. And Shannon is also an actor. He's been producing and filming a lot of movies. Also, big shout out to my man Johnny Alonzo. He's out in New York. He is now shooting a film or commercial in New York. Big shout out to Johnny Alonzo, Kevin Wick, Irv Becker. Big happy birthday to my lovely, lovely friend. I love her to death. Catherine COVID Pacino was her birthday like 2 days ago. So happy birthday to her. And yeah, that's it. And big shout out to all you guys. See you guys on Sunday. And I am out of here. Peace, love, respect. See you tomorrow.